Hello guys, how are you? I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1. You'll hear a head teacher and a teacher discussing a school camping trip. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning, Mr. Thompson. Can I speak to you for a moment?
Of course, Jamie. Come in. Have a seat. I've just finished looking through the reports for this term. It looks like the pupils are doing very well.
Yes, I think they are. It's all going fine.
So, Jamie, what's on your mind?
Well, I've been thinking about next month's camping trip, the one for Year 10.
Yes, we've got it scheduled for the 23rd to the 26th, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, I think it's the 24th to the 27th.
Let's just check. Oh, right. Yes, you're right. So...
Well, I've been thinking about how we might possibly make this year's event even better than last year's. Not that last year's wasn't great, but...
Suggestions for improvement are always welcome, Jamie. So, what have you been thinking about?
Well, to tell the truth, I wasn't completely happy with the camp we used last year. It was rather small, and I didn't feel that the grounds were particularly well kept.
Go on.
I did some searching, and I think I found the perfect spot. It's called Shepton Meadows, and...
Is that the campsite in the Lake District?
No, actually it's just outside Carlisle. It's a huge site, and it's on a lovely lake, Lake Brant, I believe it's called. Half the site is forested, and the rest, the actual camping area, is grassy. For kids that rarely get to see anything more than concrete, it's ideal. And the facilities are amazing. There's a basketball court, a large pool, and a football pitch. There are well-marked trails through the forest for hiking, and the lake is there for swimming and other water sports. I believe there's even a lifeguard service.
That sounds like it might suit our purposes perfectly. Did you happen to find out about availability and cost?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. I called them yesterday evening, and there are plenty of spots available. And because we're a non-profit organization, they said they would give me a reduction in the price.
If I remember correctly, we paid £5 a head last year.
Yes, per night, right?
Yes, each child paid £10 for the 2 nights.
Well, at this campsite, it's only £4 per night. And they told me that if we had over 50 children, which we do, they could give us a further 10% off.
That's very reasonable, isn't it? Well, from what you've told me, I think we should probably go ahead and book.
Excellent. I'm sure the children will love it.
I'm sure they will.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
Now, Jamie, have you given any thought to an itinerary by any chance?
As a matter of fact, I have. Wait 1 second. Yes, here it is. I've made a few notes. Okay, so, now, these are just ideas, of course.
Yes, go on. Let's hear what you've got.
Right. We time it so that we arrive at the camp around 7 on Friday evening. It'll still be light then, and we'll have plenty of time to set up camp and get ourselves settled in. At 8, we could have a barbecue, you know, hamburgers and hot dogs, something that's nice and easy to prepare.
And that children love.
Yes. Then, lights out would be at 9:30, so the children will get a good night's sleep and be up bright and early at 7 on Saturday morning. Breakfast would be at 7:30, an hour's hiking from 8 till 9, and then a couple of hours at the lake. That would take us up to 11. I think that an hour of free time would then be in order. Let them have a chance to explore a bit on their own, you know?
Yes, great idea. And then?
Let's see, a picnic lunch at 12, and then sports in the afternoon till 4. Another swim until 5, and then supper. After clean-up, around 6:30, we could have a talk-back session, where the children get a chance to discuss their day and anything else they might have on their minds. Then a campfire and sing-along at 8, back to the tents at 9:30, and, well, that takes care of Saturday.
Excellent, excellent. That would certainly keep them busy. What about Sunday?
Sunday, right. As on Saturday, same wake-up and breakfast times, and then I thought we could go on a bit of a day trip. There are some caves about an hour's walk from the camp, which I thought the children might find interesting. We could leave at 8, which would mean we'd get to the caves at 9. They could explore for a couple of hours, and we'd head back at 11. 12 o'clock would see us back at the meadows. An hour's swim, and then lunch at 1. Then we could have organized games in the afternoon until supper at 5. It would take us an hour to clean up our sights and pack up. We'd be on the buses at 6 and all set to head back into the city.
Well now, you've certainly put a lot of thought into this, Jamie, and it's paid off. I think it sounds wonderful. I can't think of a thing that needs to be changed. Let's go for it.
Brilliant. I'll get the itinerary printed up and put it up on the notice board this afternoon.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear a conversation in a bank. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15. Now listen carefully and answer questions 11 to 15.
Good morning. I'd like to open a bank account, please.
Good morning. What kind of account do you want to open?
I'm not sure. Perhaps you can give me some suggestions. I only want to deposit money in the bank and pay all kinds of bills easily.
Fine. I've got the application form here. First of all, can I have your full name, please?
Richard Lee.
Fine, Richard. What's your occupation?
I'm studying a doctor's degree now, although I was a dentist before coming here.
Well, so you are a student.
What kind of account can you suggest for me?
How about a deposit account?
What's the difference between that and a current account?
There are many differences, such as the interest rate, overdraft and service, and so on.
Fine, I will take your recommendation.
OK, let's talk about the main 2 account cards of the deposit account.
Fine.
One card is called the solo card, and the other one is named MasterCard.
Which one is better for me?
Let me introduce you to some differences of the two cards.
Okay.
The first one is annual interest rate.
Which one is higher?
Of course, it is the MasterCard. At present, its rate is 5.5%, but the Solo card is only 2.5%. Now look at questions 16 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 16 to 20.
How about the other differences?
The service supplied with the two cards.
Could you speak specifically?
We usually supply internet service and mobile service with all of the cards, of course including the Solo card.
Yes, I'd like to ask for the service of mobile and... does Solo card have an overdraft?
I'm sorry, but MasterCard has such a service.
Fine.
If you want to take more money out of the bank than you have in it, be very careful. You should not do this without the bank's permission, and you will have to pay some charge.
Do you mean interest?
No, I mean the overdraft charge.
How much is that charge?
According to the bank's rules, the minimum fee is about 2%.
Fine.
The last item of the two cards is the requirement. There is no limitation of the Solo card, but if you want to get MasterCard, you should deposit a minimum sum of £1,500 in the first time.
Oh, what's the requirement of money?
What do you mean?
I mean I cannot deposit cash when I open a bank account.
Don't worry, we accept cash and cheque or even money order.
Great.
So which card did you decide to open?
I'd like to open the MasterCard.
A good choice. How often would you like to receive your statement?
Monthly, please.
OK, the last one you should know is the opening time. Banks usually open from 9 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. from Monday to Friday, but most branches open until 3:30 p.m. on Saturdays.
OK, I see. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You are going to hear a conversation. Before you listen, please look at questions 21 to 30. Now listen to the conversation and answer questions 21 to 30.
I'm going to speak to Eric this afternoon, the Central University's Environment and Resources Professor. Good afternoon, Eric.
Good afternoon, Jane.
I know that our university has recently begun a programme for recycling bottles. Can you tell us something about it?
Yeah, Jane. I heard that our university has been recycling bottles for about 4 months now. And in fact, it's totally voluntary, and we find that most members are students, and they all agree that there's lots of need for it. And in fact, many people ever do some recycling in their home.
I'm sure.
Yes, so we thought that would be a good idea to introduce it here for the students. Initially, we started in the university classrooms, where we found there were many bottles.
I can imagine.
It was surprising, really. The waste came largely from water bottles and alcoholic beverage bottles and non-alcoholic beverage bottles.
Right. But how did you want to start the bottle recycling process?
Well, there is a government collection service that deals with the used bottles from many places, and then it takes the bottles to a recycling plant to be recycled into plastic products or new bottles, such as plastic bags.
I think it is great.
We call it Bottle Saver. Our members also prepare boxes for students, placing used bottles inside.
Oh, I think I've seen some of those.
I think that is quite a good idea.
Me too. How much are the boxes?
They only cost $1 each, and they were very large. In fact, they can carry about 20 bottles each.
That's quite a bit, isn't it? So in student records, how many boxes would you need?
In student records, we've bought 12 boxes.
Well, how often do the boxes get full?
They fill up about every other day, and we should change into empty ones as they are full, and then send the bottles to the recycling plant.
Turnabout.
So we don't need many boxes. We just fill them up as we go along, while we are waiting for Bottle Saver to deal with our full boxes.
It sounds great. And do you think people would like to use the used bottles as well?
In theory, we would like to think so.
I think so.
But in fact, that is a slight problem. We encourage people to do this by having 3 different ways.
What are those?
First, there is refused bottle that is integrated and left after drink. And secondly, the recycled bottle that has no unused sides at all. The last, there is scrap bottle. That bottle is broken into small pieces, or for some reason, it is just not useful.
So it should be separate, isn't it?
Yeah, it is separate. And to answer your question, we encourage people to use the refused bottles and try to use them to carry something. The other bottles can be given to Bottle Saver for recycling.
That's good. There are many ways for people to use bottles. Do you ever find anything undesirable in the boxes?
Sometimes.
For example?
Well, there have been things like orange peels, bags of socks, and waste paper. Once students found a wallet in the boxes.
That sounds not bad. Have you found the owner?
Yeah, we found the owner immediately because he put his identity card in his wallet. He was so lucky.
Would you say that bottle recycling process is working well?
Of course. I really think that it's a great idea, and in fact, it's a good way of saving our resources.
I agree with you. It's very important.
We can get many kinds of plastic products made from recycled bottles. I think the great thing is that everyone feels they are doing something good when they buy products from recycled bottles.
Of course. I think most people will share this view. Well, thank you for your time this afternoon. The thing you share with us is interesting, and let's hope people in our university all join in the Bottle Saver.
Thank you.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 4.
Before you listen, please look at questions 31 to 40. Now listen to the lecture and answer questions 31 to 40.
Afternoon, and welcome to this Earth Sciences lecture. Today we're going to look at tidal waves, or more correctly, tsunami. Deep below the ocean's surface, tectonic plates collide, and every once in a while, these forces produce an earthquake. The energy of such submarine earthquakes can produce tidal waves, which radiate out in all directions from the epicenter of the quake, moving at speeds of up to 500 miles per hour. When these waves reach shore, They can cause enormous destruction and loss of life. Tidal waves are actually misnamed. They are not caused by tides. A more accurate word for them is the Japanese name tsunami, which means harbour wave. They are also sometimes called seismic sea waves, since they can be caused by seismic disturbances such as submarine quakes. However, that name is not really accurate either, since tsunami can also be caused by landslides, volcanic eruptions, nuclear explosions, and even impacts of objects from outer space, such as meteorites, asteroids, and comets. Earthquakes, though, are the largest cause of tsunami. Tectonic plates cover the world's surface, and their movement can be detected anywhere in the world. Some areas of the world are more prone to greater movement, and it is in these places that the largest waves can occur. Large vertical movements of the Earth's crust occur at plate boundaries, which are known as faults. The Pacific Ocean's denser oceanic plates are often known to slip under continental plates in a process known as subduction, and subduction earthquakes are the most effective in generating tsunamis. A tsunami can be generated by any disturbance that displaces a large water mass from its equilibrium position. In the case of earthquake-generated tsunamis, the water column is disturbed by the uplift or subsidence of the sea floor. Submarine landslides, which often accompany large earthquakes, as well as collapses of volcanic edifices, can also disturb the overlying water column as sediment and rock slump down and are redistributed across the sea floor. Violent submarine volcanic eruptions can create an impulsive force that uplifts the water column and generates a tsunami. Conversely, supermarine landslides and cosmic body impacts disturb the water from above, as momentum from falling debris is transferred to the water into which the debris falls. Generally speaking, tsunamis generated from these mechanisms, unlike the devastating Pacific-wide tsunamis caused by earthquakes, dissipate quickly and rarely affect coastlines distant from the source area. Tsunamis are very hard to detect since they cannot be seen when they are in the deep ocean. The distance between two wave crests can be 500 kilometers and, because of this, the wave height is only a few feet. Because the rate at which a wave loses its energy is inversely related to its wavelength, tsunamis not only propagate at high speeds, they can also travel great transoceanic distances with limited energy losses. As the tsunami reaches shallow water, however, its speed decreases, but the energy it contains remains about the same. Instead of traveling fast, the wave rises high. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration has set up a seismic detection system to monitor earthquakes and predict the possible arrival of tidal waves for Pacific countries. Buoys at sea can also detect water pressure changes that can indicate tsunamis moving through the ocean. But when tsunamis originate near the shore, there is often little chance to warn people. Let's look at some examples of tsunamis and their causes and effects. Some can be relatively harmless. In 1992, an offshore landslide caused a tidal wave of only about 3 feet high that struck a low tide, so Humboldt's County, where it hit, got off easy with no casualties. On January the 13th, 1992, a Pacific Ocean earthquake off the coast of San Salvador, registering 7.6 on the Richter scale, didn't cause any ocean disturbance at all. However, a recent tidal wave which struck Papua New Guinea on July the 17th, 1998 was 23 feet high and killed at least 1,200 people. This wave was caused by a magnitude 7.1 submarine earthquake. On July the 17th, 1998, a Papua New Guinea tsunami killed roughly 3,000 people. A huge underwater volcanic eruption 15 miles offshore was followed within 10 minutes by a wave some 40 feet tall. The villages of Arup and Warapu were destroyed. One of the worst tsunami disasters engulfed whole villages in Sanriku, Japan in 1896. An underwater earthquake induced a wave of 35 feet, drowning some 26,000 people. Finally, about 8,000 years ago, a massive undersea landslide off the coast of Norway sent a 30-foot wall of water barreling into the uninhabited northern coast of Europe. If this were to reoccur today, as scientists say, it could, almost anywhere in the world, it would cost billions, if not tens of billions of dollars to repair the damage to coastal cities and kill tens of thousands of people.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.